You're staring at a screen at 2:13 in the morning. Another assignment is due in a few hours. Your brain feels dead. Tabs everywhere. Google Docs open, half-finished sentences, maybe a YouTube video playing quietly in another tab just to make the stress feel less lonely. For years, students solved this problem the same way. Google searches, Reddit threads, Quizlet, Chegg, Stack Overflow, forums full of strangers helping strangers survive school, coding interviews, deadlines, exams, life. Then suddenly, something changed. Instead of searching through 10 different websites, people started typing one sentence into a small, empty box, and the internet answered back instantly, cleanly, calmly, like a machine that somehow already understood what you meant. Within weeks, millions of people felt something strange. The old internet suddenly felt slow. And somewhere inside offices across America, founders started refreshing analytics dashboards in panic, traffic collapsing, engagement dropping, subscription businesses weakening almost overnight. Some companies spent 20 years teaching people how to search for answers. Then AI taught people to stop searching entirely. One of the clearest victims was a company called Chegg. But this story isn't really about Chegg alone. It's about the moment the internet itself began changing shape. Because what happened after ChatGPT launched was bigger than a product release, bigger than Silicon Valley hype, bigger than one AI company becoming successful. It was the beginning of a psychological shift in how humans interact with information itself. And almost nobody was fully prepared for how fast it would happen. Before ChatGPT exploded, Chegg looked like one of the smartest businesses in modern education. If you were a student during the 2010s, you probably knew the company already. Maybe you used it secretly before exams. Maybe your friends shared screenshots from it in group chats at midnight. Maybe teachers warned people not to use it too much. Chegg understood something brutally honest about modern education. Huge numbers of students weren't looking for intellectual exploration. They were looking for survival. Pass the test, finish the homework, submit the assignment before the deadline destroys your weekend. Universities often marketed themselves as places of deep learning and personal growth, but millions of students experienced something emotionally different: pressure, debt, exhaustion, competition, anxiety. And the internet became the emotional support system around that pressure. Chegg evolved perfectly inside that world. Originally founded in the mid-2000s, the company started with textbook rentals. At the time, college textbook prices in America were becoming almost absurd. Students spent hundreds or sometimes thousands of dollars every year on books many barely used. Chegg entered that frustration elegantly. Rent textbooks cheaper, ship them directly, simplify student life. But the real transformation came later. Chegg slowly realized the true value wasn't physical books. It was becoming part of the academic workflow itself. Homework help, step-by-step solutions, study support, expert Q&A subscription convenience. The company adapted itself to the psychology of stressed students incredibly well, and by the late 2010s, that psychology became massively profitable. Chegg wasn't just a website anymore. It became infrastructure. Students opened it almost automatically during difficult assignments. Entire online communities quietly normalized using it. Some professors hated it. Some tolerated it. Many new students were using it constantly anyway. But here's what made Chegg powerful. It still belonged to the old internet. Search-based internet. You had to know what you wanted. Search for it. Navigate pages. Compare answers. Click links. Scroll threads. The internet for most of its history worked like a giant library mixed with a giant shopping mall. Human beings searched manually through chaos. Google became the king of that world, and Google's rise shaped almost the entire internet economy around search behavior. Websites fought for SEO rankings. Businesses optimized headlines for clicks. Media companies engineered articles around algorithms. Entire industries existed because humans searched for information manually. But younger internet users were already changing psychologically before AI arrived. TikTok accelerated this massively. Recommendation algorithms replaced intentional searching. People no longer wanted to explore deeply. They wanted frictionless discovery, fast answers, personalized feeds, minimal effort. The modern internet increasingly rewarded convenience over exploration, and then OpenAI released ChatGPT publicly in late 2022. At first, many people treated it like a fun toy. Twitter screenshots spread everywhere. Poems, homework answers, weird jokes, coding experiments, fake movie scripts, people asking philosophical questions at 3 a.m. just to see what would happen. But underneath the viral novelty, something much bigger was happening psychologically. For the first time, millions of ordinary users experienced an interface that felt conversational instead of mechanical. That difference mattered enormously. Google required search behavior. ChatGPT simulated understanding. Human beings are emotionally wired for conversation. We explain ourselves naturally through language. And suddenly, instead of searching through 10 blue links, people could simply ask directly for what they wanted. The convenience felt almost addictive immediately. Sam Altman understood this faster than most people around him. Before becoming one of the most recognizable figures in AI, Altman already had deep credibility inside Silicon Valley through Y Combinator. He wasn't some random founder who accidentally got lucky. He had spent years around startup culture, venture capital, and ambitious technical founders obsessed with changing the future. But even inside AI circles, the speed of ChatGPT's cultural explosion shocked people. OpenAI itself originally behaved far more cautiously. Earlier models like GPT-2 created internal debate because researchers worried about misuse, misinformation, spam, propaganda. GPT-3 impressed developers technically, but it still felt distant for average users. Then ChatGPT simplified the interface completely. That may have been the real breakthrough. Not pure intelligence alone, usability. One empty text box, human conversation. No technical skill required. The internet suddenly felt different. Within days, teachers started panicking online. TikTok filled with videos from educators saying things like, "My students are using this for essays." Reddit exploded with university discussions. Some students sounded excited, others sounded guilty, many sounded relieved. Because secretly huge numbers of people immediately understood how dramatically this could reduce academic friction. Professors tried testing AI detectors. Some schools returned to handwritten exams, others blocked websites. But the panic revealed something deeper. Institutions realized they no longer controlled how knowledge moved. Stack Overflow, one of the most important websites in programming culture, eventually banned many AI-generated answers because moderation systems couldn't keep up with low-quality content flooding the platform. That moment felt symbolic. Communities built over decades suddenly faced a machine capable of producing endless information instantly. Even when imperfect, the scale changed everything. Meanwhile, inside Google, the atmosphere reportedly became tense very quickly. Executives declared a code red. That phrase spread everywhere in media because it revealed something shocking. Google, one of the most powerful companies in modern history, was genuinely afraid, and the fear made sense. Google's empire depended heavily on search behavior and advertising around search behavior. But what happens if users stop searching traditionally? What happens if AI gives direct answers instead of sending traffic outward? Suddenly, the economics of the web itself become unstable. Sundar Pichai faced enormous pressure internally. Engineers inside Google had already developed many advanced AI systems years earlier. In fact, much of the foundational transformer technology behind modern AI emerged from Google researchers. But Google moved cautiously because releasing conversational AI publicly carried risks: incorrect information, harmful outputs, reputational disasters. OpenAI moved faster culturally, and culture moves incredibly fast online once momentum begins. Suddenly, every company in Silicon Valley wanted to become an AI company overnight. Startup founders rewrote pitch decks in weekends. Existing products suddenly added AI buttons everywhere, whether they truly needed them or not. Investors flooded money into anything remotely connected to generative AI. LinkedIn became filled with people calling themselves AI thought leaders almost instantly. Some founders quietly panic-refreshed analytics dashboards every morning watching traffic collapse. SEO-based businesses looked especially vulnerable. For years, entire companies survived because humans manually searched for information on Google. But conversational AI threatened to bypass the search process itself. Why click through 10 websites if an AI summarizes everything immediately? This created existential fear across huge parts of the internet economy. And then came the moment that made Wall Street truly understand the danger. In 2023, Chegg CEO Dan Rosenzweig appeared on an earnings call and openly admitted ChatGPT was affecting the company's growth. That single moment felt historic. Investors suddenly realized AI disruption wasn't theoretical anymore. It was happening now. Publicly traded companies were already losing users. Chegg stock collapsed dramatically afterward. Analysts scrambled to reassess the future of education technology businesses. The emotional tone changed almost overnight from curiosity to fear. Rosenzweig himself became an unexpectedly important figure in the AI story because he represented something larger than one struggling company. He represented an old internet model colliding with a new one in real time. Chegg had spent years building structured educational support systems, human experts, organized answers, subscription workflows. But ChatGPT delivered emotional immediacy. Students didn't always care whether information was perfect. They cared that it was instant, personalized, conversational, frictionless. That psychological shift may be the most important part of this entire story. Human beings consistently choose convenience even when convenience creates new problems. Streaming replaced physical media partly because it removed friction. Smartphones replaced dozens of separate devices because they simplified behavior. Social media feeds replaced manual exploration because algorithms reduced effort. AI represented the next stage of that trend. Instead of navigating the internet manually, humans could increasingly ask directly for outcomes. That changes behavior profoundly. Teachers experience this emotionally before almost anyone else. Facebook groups for educators filled with confusion and exhaustion. Professors debated whether writing assignments still made sense. Some students submitted essays generated almost entirely through AI. Others used AI partially for brainstorming, summaries, editing, structure. The boundaries became blurry incredibly fast. And honestly, many students didn't even experience this as cheating emotionally. That's important. Large numbers of students already felt overwhelmed by educational systems built around constant deadlines and performance pressure. AI often felt less like academic dishonesty and more like survival technology, especially for exhausted students balancing jobs, debt, anxiety, family pressure, and impossible workloads. Meanwhile, younger internet users adapted almost instantly because conversational behavior already felt normal through texting culture, TikTok comments, Discord servers, voice notes, and social media. Older internet structures sometimes still assumed users behaved like researchers. Younger audiences increasingly behaved like participants inside continuous conversation streams. AI fit naturally into that world. Even Google engineers reportedly felt conflicted. Some understood immediately that conversational AI could fundamentally alter internet behavior. Others worried public trust would collapse if inaccurate systems spread too quickly. Internally, Google faced a painful dilemma. Move carefully and risk losing cultural momentum, or move aggressively and risk damaging the company's reputation. The rushed Bard rollout exposed that tension publicly. Mistakes during demos triggered criticism immediately. OpenAI looked culturally agile. Google looked cautious and reactive. That perception mattered because technology adoption today often spreads socially before it spreads technically. And socially, ChatGPT became impossible to ignore. Media companies reacted chaotically too. Journalists rushed to publish AI explainers daily. YouTube filled with thumbnails claiming AI changes everything. Twitter became saturated with screenshots of prompts and outputs. Reddit communities swapped jailbreak tricks and prompt engineering experiments. Discord servers emerged where people shared ways to automate entire workflows. The emotional atmosphere resembled a gold rush mixed with low-level societal panic. Some people felt excitement, others felt dread. Many felt both simultaneously. Investors began acting almost irrationally around AI. Startups with weak products suddenly raised huge funding rounds simply by adding AI-powered branding. Venture capital firms feared missing the next technological revolution. Corporate executives demanded AI strategies immediately, even when employees internally had no idea what those strategies actually meant. Entire product teams suddenly received orders to integrate generative AI somehow, anywhere, as quickly as possible. The speed created absurd situations. Founders pivoted companies in days. Designers mocked up AI interfaces overnight. SaaS products rushed unfinished AI features publicly just to appear relevant. Some businesses genuinely evolved intelligently, others simply panicked. And beneath all the hype sat an uncomfortable truth. Many internet business models depended on human inefficiency. Search engines benefited from searching. Educational platforms benefited from confusion. Forums benefited from long discussions. AI compressed many of those behaviors dramatically, and compression destroys certain business ecosystems very quickly. But the deeper transformation wasn't only economic, it was cultural. For decades, internet literacy meant knowing how to search effectively. Google itself became a verb because searching information shaped modern thinking. Schools taught research skills around search engines. Entire generations grew up believing digital intelligence meant navigating the web efficiently. AI began quietly replacing that skill with something else entirely: prompting. Instead of finding information manually, users increasingly learned how to ask systems for synthesized outcomes directly. That changes cognition. It changes patience. It changes curiosity itself. Some critics worried this would weaken human critical thinking. Others argued humans have always outsourced mental labor to tools. Calculators changed mathematics education. GPS changed navigation memory. Smartphones changed social behavior. AI might simply become another layer in that process. But emotionally, the shift still feels strange because conversational AI mimics human interaction psychologically. People anthropomorphize it naturally. Users thank ChatGPT, argue with it, confess emotions to it, ask life advice from it. That emotional attachment changes how technology integrates into daily life. And this may explain why ChatGPT spread faster culturally than many previous technologies. It didn't feel like software alone. It felt responsive, personal, almost socially alive. Which brings us back to Chegg. Because Chegg wasn't destroyed simply by better technology, it was damaged by a shift in human expectation. Once people experience dramatically lower friction, older systems suddenly feel emotionally outdated. That's what happened to taxis after Uber, hotels after Airbnb, cable television after streaming. AI may now be doing something similar to large parts of the information economy itself, and this transformation is still beginning. Today, major tech companies are rebuilding products around conversational AI. Search engines increasingly generate direct summaries. Students rely on AI tutors daily. Programmers use AI coding assistants constantly. Writers brainstorm through language models. Startups automate customer support, marketing, design, analysis, scripting, research. Some jobs may evolve, others may disappear. Nobody fully knows yet. Even people building these systems openly admit uncertainty. Sam Altman himself has repeatedly discussed both excitement and fear around advanced AI systems. And maybe that uncertainty explains why this moment feels historically important. Not because one company struggled, not because one product succeeded, but because the relationship between humans and information may be changing permanently. For most of Internet history, humans searched through networks of information manually. Now, machines increasingly organize, compress, rewrite, and deliver knowledge conversationally. The Internet spent 20 years teaching humans how to search. AI may become the thing that teaches them to stop searching entirely.
Thank you so much for listening to this audiobook. I truly hope these words inspired you, motivated you, and gave you something valuable to take with you into everyday life. If you enjoyed this recording, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and explore my other inspiring audiobooks created to support your growth, mindset, and motivation. Your support means a lot and helps me create more content for listeners like you. See you in the next audiobook.